The day my brother tried to steal my dream house, he showed up with a truck, a smirk, and a stack of forged papers. I was ready for him. What would you do if your own family saw your greatest achievement not as a reward for your hard work, but as a prize for their favorite? Share your story in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe to see what happens next. My name is Lena. I am 30 years old, and I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I work as a fund manager, which means I take care of other people's money and help them make more of it. It's a very hard job. I had to study, stay up late, and work for many years to do well. But after all that work, I finally bought my dream house, a big, beautiful modern villa. This house is very special to me. It is my safe place, my reward for all the long nights and hard work. When I walk inside, I feel proud. I earned every single brick with my own hands. It's not just a house. It's proof that I made it on my own. But my family didn't always see it that way. To them, my house was just something fancy that they wanted to use or show off. Especially my younger brother, Evan. Evan is 27 years old. He is what people call a freelancer, someone who does short jobs here and there. But the truth is, he never really sticks to anything. He starts one job, quits, then tries another and quits again. And every time he messes up, our parents help him out. His girlfriend, Sienna, is 26. She smiles a lot and tries to act friendly, but her smile feels fake. It's like she's pretending to be nice to get what she wants. Our mom, Margaret, loves Evan more than anyone. She always says, he's just trying to find his way. No matter what he does wrong, she forgives him. Our dad, Daniel, is quiet. He doesn't like arguments. He just watches and says, let's not fight. Then one day in early spring, Mom called me. Her voice was sweet, but I could tell she wanted something. Lena, she said, we need your house. I frowned. Why? She said, it's for Evan and Sienna's engagement party. It's also going to be a charity event. It will make them look good. I didn't like the idea at all. My house is not for parties. I don't want strangers walking around, touching my things or breaking stuff. But Mom kept asking. It's for family, she said again and again. You've done so well. You should share a little. Then Dad spoke softly. It'll mean a lot to your brother. They made me feel guilty. So, after thinking for a while, I said yes, but I gave them strict rules. I said, okay, but only 100 guests. The party must end by 10 p.m. And nobody is allowed to change my house. No decorations that stay. No painting. No building. Nothing. Mom quickly said, of course. No problem. She agreed too fast. That was my first warning sign. Later that night, Evan called. He sounded happy and extra nice. Sis, you're the best. You're saving me, he said. Then Sienna texted, this is going to be epic. I read her text and thought, epic for who? As the weeks went by, I started getting a lot of messages. Sienna wanted the party to go past midnight. She said, it'll make it more fun for the charity guests. Then she asked for a live auction, which would take more time and space. I told her, no, 10 o'clock. That's the rule. Evan said not to worry. We'll stick to the plan, he promised. But I knew his promises didn't mean much. Mom started calling me too. Why can't you be more flexible? She said, sounding annoyed. It's just one night. One night. It was one night in my house, the home I worked so hard to buy. I started feeling angry and nervous at the same time. I talked to my best friend, Julian. He's 40 and works as a lawyer. He's smart and has always been there for me. Over coffee, I told him everything. He leaned forward and said seriously, they're testing your boundaries, Lena. You should get a contract in writing. At first, I didn't want to believe my own family could do something bad. But deep down, I knew Julian was right. Mom always favored Evan. When we were kids, he got new toys while I got old ones. He crashed Dad's car once, and everyone laughed it off. But if I missed a deadline or made a small mistake, I got scolded for weeks. I moved out and built my life away from their drama. But now, letting them use my house felt like opening the door to all that trouble again. And I had no idea how much worse it would get. One day, the caterer called me. She sounded nervous. Miss Lena, she said, we were told to prepare food for 150 guests. My heart dropped. 150? That's not right. I said 100. That wasn't an accident. Someone changed it on purpose. Then I got an email from Sienna. She wrote, hey Lena, we'd love to make your backyard even prettier. Maybe add a pergola and new flowers. She made it sound like a nice idea, but I knew what it was. She wanted to change my house. That was the last straw. I called Evan right away. Why are there 50 more guests? I asked firmly. He laughed. Sis, just a few more people. Relax. Relax. It was my house. I reminded him of our deal, but he just said, "It's all good," in that lazy voice he always uses when he's lying. Then Sienna texted again. "Lena, we're just trying to make it special." I rolled my eyes. Special for who? I thought. The next day at work, something strange happened. My coworker Elise, who is 35, came to me looking worried. "Lena," she said quietly, "I heard something weird from one of the party suppliers." I asked what it was. She said, "Sienna was bragging that she and Evan might stay at your house long-term, after the party." My hands went cold. "Live in my house?" I whispered. Elise nodded. "Watch your back," she said. "This sounds fishy." I couldn't believe it. Were they really planning to take over my house? I had to find out. I drove to my parents' house that evening. Evan was lying on the couch, playing with his phone. I stood in front of him and said, "We agreed on 100 guests, Evan. And no changes to my house. What's going on?" He looked up with a smirk. "You're blowing this out of proportion, sis. It's just a party." Sienna sat nearby and smiled that fake smile. "We're doing this for charity, Lena. Chill." Before I could say more, Mom came into the room. "Lena, why are you being so difficult?" she said angrily. "Family helps family. You have a big house. Let your brother shine for once." Her words stung. She made me sound selfish, like I was the bad guy. Dad tried to calm us down. "Let's all take a breath," he said softly. But he didn't defend me either. I took a deep breath and said, "The rules don't change. 100 guests. No building. Done by 10. Evan rolled his eyes. Sienna pouted. Mom sighed loudly. "You're so successful, Lena. Why can't you share?" "Share?" I was already sharing my house for their big event. What more did they want? That night, Mom called again. "You're embarrassing your brother," she said sharply. "This is his big moment." I was so tired of her guilt trips. Evan had always been the golden child. The favorite who could do no wrong. He wasted money, skipped work, and always got help. Meanwhile, I worked nonstop to earn my living. Now they were treating my home like it was Evan's property. That's when I started saving every single message, the texts, emails, and even Elise's warning. If this turned into something serious, I wanted proof. I checked my security system, locked my doors, and made sure everything was safe. The party was still a month away, but the requests kept coming. Sienna wanted a new sound system. Evan asked to borrow my patio furniture. Every time I said no. Mom kept saying, "Your brother's struggling." I wanted to shout. I struggled too. I just didn't give up, but I kept calm. I wasn't going to let them cross my line. Still, the more I stood my ground, the more alone I felt. Mom scolded me. Evan smirked like it was a joke. Sienna kept pretending everything was fine. The pressure was building like a storm. Then, one Sunday afternoon, I went to my parents' house for lunch. I expected the usual, small talk, a few jokes, and Mom's little comments about how I'm too selfish. But that day, something was different. The air felt heavy, like everyone knew a secret except me. And then, I heard something that changed everything. Something that made me realize my family's plan was much, much worse than I thought. My cousin Nora, who is 33 years old, came up to me after dessert. Her face looked worried, and she spoke very quietly. "We need to talk," she said, glancing toward the living room. Inside, Evan, Sienna, and Sienna's brother Adrian, who was 29, were laughing and chatting with Margaret. Nora gently pulled me toward the porch outside, so no one could hear us. The air felt cold, and I could feel something bad was coming. "I heard something last night," she whispered, her eyes darting around. Evan, Sienna, and Adrian were at a bar talking. "They're planning something big, and it's about your house." My heart started to pound. My house? Why would they be talking about my house? Nora leaned closer and continued. "They were talking about making fake papers to pretend your villa belongs to them. Adrian said he could take care of the paperwork because he's done it before." I felt sick to my stomach. "Fake papers?" I asked softly. She nodded. "Yes. They want to trick everyone and make it look legal." My head was spinning, but Nora wasn't finished. "There's more," she said, pausing for a second. "Sienna said she's pregnant. She said it would make your family feel sorry for her and agree to give her things. But I don't believe it. I saw her drinking 3 cocktails without a care. If she was pregnant, she wouldn't do that. I think she's lying." My eyes widened. Sienna, pregnant? That didn't make sense. But it sounded like something she would do. She was always trying to get people on her side by acting sweet and innocent. I asked Nora to tell me exactly what she heard. She said she was at the same bar with her friends. She saw them sitting together in a corner booth, laughing loudly and not noticing her. Evan was bragging and said, "Once we pull this off, the house is ours." Sienna giggled and said, "Lena won't know what hit her." Then Adrian, serious and calm, said they would use family pressure to make it look like everything was real and right. Nora's hands trembled as she spoke. "I couldn't believe they'd go this far," she said. "They're your family." I stood there frozen. My own brother, the one I'd helped so many times when he was in trouble, was planning to steal my home. The villa that I had worked so hard for. The place that showed everything I'd achieved. And Sienna, with her fake smiles and nice words, was trying to fool everyone with a fake pregnancy. I remembered all the times Margaret, my mom, gave Evan a free pass, always forgiving him no matter what. Was she helping them too? I looked through the window into the living room. Evan was laughing with Daniel, looking happy and carefree. Sienna caught my eye and gave me that too sweet smile that always made my stomach turn. Adrian was sitting quietly in the corner, sipping his drink and looking smug, like he already won. I wanted to storm in and yell at all of them. But Nora grabbed my arm. "Don't," she said quickly. "They'll just deny it. You need proof first." She was right. I couldn't let my anger mess things up. I had to be careful and smart. When I went back inside, Margaret called me into the kitchen. "You're so quiet today," she said, looking at me closely. "Is everything okay?" I forced a smile and nodded even though my heart was racing. I couldn't let her know what I'd just learned. Daniel walked in too. "You two okay?" he asked in his calm, kind voice. I mumbled something about being tired. My mind was spinning. All I could think about were those horrible words: forged papers, fake pregnancy, my house being stolen. Driving home later, I kept hearing Nora's voice in my head. She'd always been honest with me, the only one in the family who didn't play games or take sides. But Evan, I'd helped him so many times. I'd paid his rent, helped him find jobs, even loaned him money when he got into trouble. And now he wanted to take my house? Sienna's fancy charity party suddenly felt like a big lie, just part of their plan. Adrian being involved made it even worse. He wasn't even family by blood. The more I thought about it, the more betrayed I felt. My villa wasn't just a house. It was my safe place, my proof that I'd worked hard and succeeded, even when Margaret favored Evan. The idea that they wanted to steal it from me felt like a knife in my back. But after the shock came anger. They thought I'd be weak. They thought I'd just give up. They didn't know me. I started remembering little things, how Sienna kept asking questions about the property, how Evan avoided eye contact when I talked about the party, and how Margaret kept saying things like, "Think of the family's future." It all made sense now. Nora's warning had opened my eyes, but I needed proof. I opened my phone and scrolled through old texts from Evan and Sienna. Nothing clear yet, but I knew they were hiding something. I wasn't going to let them win. The next morning I called Julian, my friend who's a lawyer. He's serious and always gets straight to the point. "We need to meet," I said. "It's urgent." We met at a coffee shop later that morning. Julian looked at me with sharp eyes. "What's going on?" he asked. I told him everything, from the fake papers to Sienna's fake pregnancy and Adrian's part in the plan. He leaned back, crossing his arms. "They're playing a dangerous game," he said. "Here's what we'll do. First, protect your house. Install security cameras all around the property. Every corner, every door. If they try anything, you'll have proof." That made sense. "Next," he said, "get Evan to sign a contract. Make it clear that the party is just for one night. No ownership, no claims." I nodded. I liked that plan. It was smart and strong. Julian wrote the contract that same day. It was one simple page that said the villa was mine and that the party was only allowed for one night, nothing else. I texted Evan and said, "Hey, can we go over the party details?" He agreed right away, probably thinking he could sweet-talk me like usual. When he came over, I laid the paper on the table. "Sign this," I said firmly. "It confirms our agreement. One night only. No funny business." Evan's smile faded a little. His eyes narrowed. "What's this, sis?" he asked, pretending to sound innocent. "Just protecting my home," I said, looking straight at him. He hesitated, but then signed. I could tell he was nervous. Later that evening, Margaret called me. She was angry. "Lena, why are you making your brother sign papers?" she snapped. "You're being selfish. You should think about the next generation." Her words cut deep. She always made me sound like the bad guy. "This is my home, Mom," I said calmly. "I'm just protecting what's mine." She sighed loudly. "You've always been too independent," she said, then hung up on me. That hurt, but it also made me stronger. The next day, I told Dad what was going on. We met for lunch, and I explained everything. He rubbed his forehead and said, "Can't you two just work this out? You're family." "Family, don't try to steal your house, Dad," I said firmly. He looked sad and didn't know what to say. That silence told me I was on my own. So I took action. That week, I hired a security company. They installed cameras at every door and around the whole yard. The man setting them up told me, "No one will get in without you knowing." It made me feel safer, like my house was a castle. I also made copies of all my house papers and gave one set to Julian. I locked the other set in a safe. I was ready for anything. But Margaret didn't stop. She kept texting me every day. "Your brother needs help," she wrote. "Why can't you think about his future?" His future? What about mine? I had worked for years for everything I had. Evan had always depended on Mom's excuses. Her next generation talk just made me angry now. I stopped replying to her. Evan tried calling too. "Sis, why all the tension?" he asked sweetly. "Just follow the rules, Evan," I said coldly. He went silent. Then Sienna texted, "Can't wait for the party," with hearts and smiley faces. I didn't answer. Their fake kindness didn't fool me anymore. Julian called to check in. "You're doing the right thing," he said. "Stay one step ahead." That helped me feel brave. I wasn't just fighting for a house. I was fighting for my peace, my hard work, and my dignity. Finally, the day of the engagement party came. I was ready, but my nerves buzzed. As soon as the guests arrived, I knew something was wrong. Instead of 100 people, there were around 150. My house was crowded with strangers drinking and laughing loudly. Then I noticed a huge sound system blasting music, one that I never approved. They had broken the contract completely. My pulse quickened, but I stayed calm. Nora found me in the crowd and pulled me into a quiet corner. "You need to hear this," she said urgently, handing me her phone. On it was a recording. Sienna's voice came through, laughing softly. "The pregnancy's fake. It's just to mess with Lena's head." Adrian laughed too. "Family pressure always breaks her kindness," he said. Their words hit me hard, but now I had proof. I looked across the room. Evan was laughing like he owned the place. Sienna was smiling, pretending to be sweet. I took out my phone and opened the security camera app. They thought they were winning, but the game was only beginning. Julian's plan worked so well that the big party turned into something way bigger than it was supposed to be. So many people came that the caterers started putting up extra tables without even asking me. I knew right away this wasn't an accident. It wasn't a silly mistake or a misunderstanding. It was done on purpose, to ignore my rules and make me look like I wasn't in charge of my own home. My contract, my rules, and my trust, they threw them all away like they didn't matter. I walked across the busy party, trying not to show how angry I was. Music was booming, people were laughing, and lights were flashing everywhere. I found my brother Evan standing by the bar, far from the others. I wanted to talk to him away from the crowd. "Evan," I said in a cold voice, "we agreed on 100 guests. Not one more. And we agreed that I'd use my own sound system. But you changed everything. You broke the deal." Evan smiled like he didn't care at all. He leaned against the counter, looking smug. "Come on, little sis," he said, grinning. "It's just a party. Don't take it so seriously. Nobody's counting how many people are here." His words made my blood boil. "And Sienna's fake pregnancy," I said, holding up Nora's phone. "She told the truth on this recording. She said she lied, to trick me. What are you and Sienna really trying to do, Evan?" Evan's grin slipped a little, but he kept acting cool. "You're blowing things out of proportion," he said, pretending to laugh. "It's all just a mix-up." "A mix-up?" I repeated, trying to stay calm. "You invited 50 more people than we agreed on. You swapped my sound system for something else. And Sienna lied about being pregnant. That's not a mix-up. It's a plan." Evan shrugged. "Talk to Sienna," he said easily. "She's just excited. You're overreacting." His calm voice made me even angrier. He was treating me like I was a child. I wanted to yell, but I knew that if I shouted, everyone would turn it around and make it look like I was the problem. Then Margaret, my mother, came rushing over. Her face looked half worried and half annoyed. "Lena, you're ruining their night," she said, pulling me aside. "Why can't you just let it go for once?" Her words hurt. She was always taking their side, never mine. "They broke my rules, Mom," I said firmly. "This is my home." Mom rolled her eyes like I was being silly. "It's for charity," she said, as if that made it okay for them to break my trust. Our dad, Daniel, stood a few feet away looking nervous. "Can we just handle this later?" he asked softly. But I shook my head. "No, Dad. Not later. They crossed the line." I took a deep breath and thought about everything. Nora's recording had proved that Sienna's pregnancy was fake. She'd lied to control me. That lie, plus the extra guests and the sound system change, it all felt like a plan to take more power away from me. Maybe even to steal my house. I checked my home cameras again from my phone. On the screen, I saw Adrian, another one of Evan's friends, telling the staff to move my furniture around. That was another broken rule. I could feel the anger bubbling up inside. I found Nora again near the hallway, away from the loud music and chatter. "Thank you for recording, Sienna," I told her. My voice was steady, even though I was furious. "Keep watching them, okay?" Nora nodded. "They're not stopping," she said with a worried look. The party kept going, music pounding, people dancing, everyone laughing, completely unaware of the lies and the betrayal happening right under their noses. My house felt like a battlefield. These people didn't care that it was my home. They just wanted to take what they wanted. But I wasn't going to let them win. Not Evan with his fake charm. Not Sienna with her lies. Not even Mom with her unfairness. They all thought I'd just give up and stay quiet. But I wasn't that person anymore. The cameras were rolling. The contract was strong. And I had proof of everything they'd done. The air felt heavy with tension, but I was ready for whatever came next. This was my home. And I was going to protect it, no matter what. The next morning, I woke up to a loud beep from my security system. My phone buzzed. I checked the camera and saw a large truck pulling into my driveway. No one had permission to come. My stomach tightened. I zoomed in on the camera and saw Evan stepping out of the truck with Sienna and Adrian right behind him. Evan was holding a thick stack of papers and had a smug smile on his face. My heart started racing. This was it, their next move to take my house. I quickly texted Julian, my friend and lawyer. "They're here with a truck," I typed fast. He replied instantly. "On my way. Stay calm." I put on my coat, took a deep breath, and stepped outside. The cool morning air hit my face, but I stood tall. Evan walked toward me, waving his papers high in the air. "This house is mine now," he said loudly, so the whole neighborhood could probably hear. "These papers prove it." The papers looked real, they even had stamps and signatures, but I remembered Nora's warning. They were probably fake. Sienna stood next to Evan with a smug, proud look, while Adrian leaned against the truck, his arms crossed like he was waiting to watch a show. "You're trespassing," I said calmly. "The contract you signed says you have no claim to my house." Evan laughed, a sharp, mean laugh. "You're out of your depth, little sis," he said. "This is family property now." His words hit hard, but I didn't move. Sienna spoke next, pretending to sound kind. "We just want what's fair, Lena." Adrian said nothing, just kept that smirk on his face. They really thought they had won. Then, just in time, Julian's car screeched into the driveway. He got out quickly, wearing a serious look that made everyone go quiet. "What's going on here?" he asked sharply, his eyes locked on the papers in Evan's hand. I told him everything about the truck, the fake papers, and how Evan was trying to claim my home. Julian's eyes narrowed. "Those papers are worthless," he said firmly. "Lena owns this property. You're trespassing, and you need to leave." He took out his phone. "I'm calling the police right now." Evan's confident look faded a little, but he tried to act tough. "You can't make us leave," he said, stepping closer. "This is my home too." Sienna clutched his arm. "You're tearing the family apart, Lena," she said, pretending to cry. I wanted to yell back, but Julian gently put his hand on my shoulder. "Don't," he whispered. "Let the law handle it." A few minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up. 2 officers stepped out and listened as I explained everything. I showed them my property deed and the signed contract. Julian spoke clearly, his voice strong. "These 3, he said, pointing at Evan, Sienna, and Adrian, "are trespassing. They've also brought forged documents." The officers looked at my paperwork and then turned to Evan. "You need to leave," one officer said firmly. Evan shouted, waving his fake papers. "No, they say it's mine." The officer shook his head. "These don't hold up. You're on private property without permission." Sienna started arguing, but the other officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, calm down," he warned. "Or you could be arrested." Adrian stayed quiet now, no longer looking so sure of himself. Then Mom arrived. She jumped out of her car crying. "Lena," she shouted. "How could you do this to your brother? He's family." Her tears felt like a trap. "Mom," I said, keeping my voice calm, "he's trying to steal my house. I'm protecting what's mine." Mom shook her head, still crying. "You're so selfish," she said, grabbing Evan's arm. "You're tearing this family apart." Her words stung, but I stood firm. "This isn't about family. I said quietly. It's about what's right and what's wrong. Julian nodded beside me. Margaret, the police are here for a reason, he said. They broke the law. The officers gave the final warning. You have 10 minutes to leave, one said. Or we'll remove you. Evan glared at me, his face red. This isn't over, little sis, he said, throwing the fake papers to the ground. Sienna pulled him away, and Adrian climbed back into the truck, silent. Mom stood there crying, but I turned away. I had nothing left to say. The police stayed until the truck left. My driveway was finally empty. Julian turned to me. You did the right thing, he said calmly. I nodded. My heart felt heavy, but I stood strong. My house was safe again, and so was I. My house was still mine, but it didn't feel the same anymore. The fight had left deep marks, not just on the walls, but in my heart too. I had worked so hard to keep it safe, and now I was tired, but I wasn't finished. I knew I had to make sure no one could ever try to take it again. This time, I wanted to end it once and for all. After what Evan, Sienna, and Adrian did with their truck and those fake papers, I knew I couldn't let them keep playing their mean games. They had lied, cheated, and tried to steal my home. My home wasn't just a house. It was a part of me. I had built my life there. Every corner held a memory, every wall told a story. I wasn't going to lose that because of their lies. So, with Julian's help, I decided to fight back. Julian was a very smart and calm lawyer, someone who always seemed to know what to do. He listened carefully as I told him everything that happened. When I finished, he looked at me and said, "We can win this. The truth is on your side." Together, we took Evan and Sienna to court. Julian helped me file a lawsuit against them for faking documents and trying to steal my house. He worked day and night to make a strong case. He found every piece of proof we had, the contract that Evan signed when the house became mine, and the recording that Nora made of Sienna admitting she lied about being pregnant. The judge won't be able to ignore this, Julian said, tapping the papers on his desk. This case is airtight. I wanted justice. I wanted the world to see what they had done. Then Julian said something that made me think hard. They've been winning because you've stayed silent. It's time to tell your story. Go public. Let people know the truth. At first, I didn't want to. Talking about family problems in front of everyone felt embarrassing and scary. What would people think? What would they say? But deep down, I knew he was right. Evan and Sienna's lies worked because they were whispered in the shadows. The truth needed light. So I sat down one night and wrote everything out. I posted it all on social media. Every fact, every piece of proof. I shared pictures of the signed contract, the words from Nora's recording, and even video clips from my security cameras showing them breaking the rules during the party. I didn't exaggerate or add drama. I just told the truth plainly. In my post, I wrote, Evan and Sienna tried to take my house using lies and fake papers. They hurt me deeply, but I won't stay quiet anymore. At first, I thought maybe only a few people would see it. But I was wrong. Within hours, thousands of people had read my story. The post spread fast, faster than I ever imagined. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages, comments, and calls. People were shocked. Family members I hadn't spoken to in years messaged me, asking if it was true. Distant cousins, old friends, even some neighbors from Knoxville reached out. Many of them had believed Evan and Sienna before. Evan always acted charming, and Sienna always played the victim. But once they saw the real proof, everything changed. Nora called me the next day. Her voice sounded tired but proud. "They're done," she said simply. "No one's buying their act anymore." I could almost hear her smiling. For the first time in a long while, I felt like the truth had finally won. Friends and neighbors from around town sent me kind messages too. They said they were sorry for what I went through, and that they were proud of me for standing up for myself. Even people I didn't know that well offered to help if I ever needed anything. Meanwhile, Evan and Sienna's reputations began to crumble. Their fancy charity event, the one that once made them look so good, now looked like a sneaky plan to make money for their lies. People online called them greedy and dishonest. Their smiles no longer fooled anyone. Evan tried to save face by posting a vague apology on his social media. He wrote something like, "There's been a misunderstanding," but no one believed him. The proof was too strong. Sienna, instead of apologizing, got defensive. She said I was attacking my family and trying to make them look bad. But her words didn't matter anymore. The truth was out there for everyone to see. As the court date came closer, Julian stayed focused. He prepared every tiny detail carefully. We went over all the documents again and again. When the hearing day finally arrived, my heart was beating fast, but Julian was calm as ever. The judge listened to both sides, then looked at the evidence. She didn't take long to decide. "This is a clear case of fraud," she said firmly. "The property belongs to you. Evan and Sienna were ordered to pay my legal fees and damages. Thousands of dollars. They didn't have the money. Their lies had caught up with them. The shame spread through the whole family. Soon after, the family started to break apart. Most of our relatives stopped talking to Evan and Sienna. They were disgusted by what they had done. Nora later told me that Evan and Sienna packed up and moved to Arizona, where Sienna's family lived. Maybe they wanted a fresh start. I didn't care. I just felt free. Before they left, Evan sent me one last text message. "Little sis, can we talk?" he wrote. I looked at the message for a long time, then put my phone down. I didn't reply. His betrayal had cut too deep. I wasn't falling for another act. Then Margaret called me. Her voice was shaking and full of tears. "Please forgive your brother," she said. "He's family." Her words hurt me more than I expected. "Mom," I said quietly. "He tried to steal my home. I'm done." She started crying harder, saying I was abandoning my family, but I couldn't listen anymore. I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. It broke my heart, but I couldn't carry her unfairness anymore. She refused to see the truth. Dad, Daniel, was different. He called sometimes, his voice soft and tired. "Just checking in," he'd say. We talked about small things, his health, the weather. Never about the drama. He didn't take sides, but he also didn't stand up for me. I kept our talks short. That felt right. In the end, this whole fight taught me something big. Protecting myself wasn't selfish. It was necessary. Some people, even family, will cross any line for their own gain. Evan and Sienna lost everything because of their lies, their reputation, their place in the family, and the respect of everyone in Knoxville. I learned to trust my instincts, to know my worth, and to stand strong no matter who tried to push me down. My house wasn't just wood and bricks. It was a symbol of everything I'd worked for, everything I'd fought to protect. When everything finally settled down, Julian called to check on me. He gave a small smile, something he didn't do often. "You're stronger than they ever thought you were," he said. I smiled back, feeling proud and calm. The scars from the fight would stay, but so would my strength. I had protected what was mine, and if I had to, I would do it again without fear.